Fellas, say goodbye to Chuck Sherman the boy. I am now a man. I highly recommend you join the club. We are doing the wild thing all night.
Acid house music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm.
Sherman, I cooked all this food. Is that all you gonna eat?
General Sherman realized and understood the importance of house music.
So, do you know anything about techno?
No.
Listen.
Get it on.
Well, Miss Sonya Alvarez coming in live from Detroit. I got my shirt on for you, the 313.
Love it.
It's great to talk to you. So excited to have you on the show. Like I said before we just went live, I've been following you for a few years now. I've seen you DJ numerous times, and it's been so awesome to see you grow as like an artist, as just like, I would say a Detroit influencer, honestly. I mean, you've got to be one of the biggest Detroit DJs at this point, seriously.
Thank you.
Don't you think? Be a little humble. Come on, it's okay.
You know, I mean, it's been a good little journey here. I got a long way to go. I got a lot of exciting things ahead of me. You know, I feel like everything is always in waves. You know, Detroit's awesome for its roots. I mean, you can't really get much better if you're trying to do.
Hey, look at this. There's a nail in my hand.
Hey, Dominic.
So,
Dominic?
if I drop
Dominic, I need you to leave us alone.
Don't forget to wear a helmet.
I will.
Okay.
So yeah, Detroit, obviously, you know, we got Kevin Saunderson coming out of Detroit. MK's from Detroit. Obviously, Claude Von Stroke is from Michigan. You know, like so many huge influences out of Detroit. So, you know, I was born in Detroit and I've lived in Detroit pretty much most all my life. And yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful that I was able to break into the scene before coronavirus.
Yeah.
I
Seriously.
feel really bad for all the DJs who are just getting started. And basically, like, I have a good friend that I've been working with and mentoring a little bit. And she just started DJing about a year and a half ago. And I feel bad because she's just beginning to get like a lot of good bookings, and they're all canceled and whatnot because of everything. And it could be very demotivating. Like I find it, you know, just myself, you've been doing this for a while and it's like, oh damn, like, ugh, like what's going on here, you know? But we just got to try to stay positive as artists because that's our job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think during this time is really when a lot of the people who maybe aren't fully into it, and this isn't like saying anything against your friend, but like people who are in it for the music, the love of the music, right? We don't know how long this is going to go on for, and I believe like whoever continues to do it, if it's a passion of theirs, if they really believe in themselves, like those people will remain afterwards. So it's tough. Don't get me wrong, right? Like somebody was telling me about it yesterday, actually. It's like, it's almost like you're pushing a train. And sometimes it takes a while to get that train going, but once it's going, it's going. And now we all randomly got an emergency brake pull on our train no matter how slow it was going, right?
You're right.
Yeah. But it's okay, you know, and I mean, that's why I'm so glad I have this podcast so I can continue to connect with artists like yourself and use my platform to tell your story, because you're going to continue doing your thing. And that's one of the major reasons I wanted to have you on, is because when you DJ, you're just someone who like is so into it, and it's just like electric and it's energetic. And I think in these days, at least since I've been in the industry for the past 5 or 6 years, there are people who, you know, like I said, I've met them and I don't know what they're in it for, right? Is it like to get the blue check mark? Is it to get clout? Or like they really in it for the music? They really love doing it. And I think those people are getting weeded out, and it's going to be people like you who remain. So props to you in that. Just want to acknowledge you first.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, when I originally got into this, it was just because I was having fun, taking myself out dancing at the clubs, and like didn't even know what was going on. And within a few months of just going and hanging out by myself dancing, I met some really awesome friends.
Mm-hmm.
Who one of them I'm at his house, who helped me basically learn how to DJ. And then from there I was like, oh, you know, I don't care if I'm just DJing to make mixes for myself in my car. It's like, no one's gonna listen to this. And then you gain a little confidence in your ability, and you gain a little confidence in other people, of however you want to phrase that. And then, yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of like you put your mind to it, your body will do it. You put the effort in, then, like you said, that training kind of flows. I mean, I was super fortunate to be able to open for Chris Lake, Shiba San. Well, Shiba San like twice. Chris Lake opened and closed for him. People like Anna Lunoe and Gorgon City and Solardo and Rivistar and
I mean, anybody that comes through D-Town,
I don't even know.
Sport, like, are you
For a little while there? Yeah, I mean, I definitely had it on lockdown for sure.
like you earned those spots, Sonya? Like, you didn't just like happen to come across that or like be in the right place at the right time. Like, I want to start from the beginning, but like you are someone who's earned their stripes in the scene, and that's something that I've always noticed. So you were born in Detroit. When were like you exposed to techno, electronic music, even DJing? Like, when did you first get your hand on decks?
This would have to be around 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So not even that long ago.
Yeah.
But like in my eyes, okay, so when I became 18, which was a while ago, we would go to clubs, and I didn't know that there was different versions of clubs. The club that I would go to, it was like more of a top 40 club. Not like I would go there often, but that was my experience with clubs. Yeah. So then fast forward to like, I think I was like 24. Yeah, this was 2014, 2015. So I'd already had my son. He was already about 1. So we were getting babysit. I was getting babysitters on the weekends. Sure. And yeah, I had a, here's the story. Here's how it goes. Here's how I discovered house music, actually. Yeah. I was going on Tinder dates. Which they never worked out for me, honestly. It just never worked out. And then, so they weren't working out, and I had a free weekend night, and I was just frustrated with my progress of my social progress. It just wasn't progressing. So this girl, my friend from work, she invited me to go out with her and her husband. They were going to go to a club, and I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't have anything to expect. They took me to the Grasshopper, and we saw AC Slater.
Oh, shit. Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
Oh, baby.
So I was like, Ma, what is this? And we got there, like, we got the free entry before 10 or whatever. So, like, I was there all night, and I just, like, was just going ham on the dance floor like you'd never seen. And then 2 weeks after that, I didn't have my friends anymore with me. I don't know what they were doing, but I was like, got off work, and I didn't have any friends at all or anywhere to go or any Tinder dates or anything. So I took myself back to the same club that my friends took me to, and Sonny Federa was there with DJ Fifi.
Wow.
So that was my second experience with house music.
You were hooked. You were so hooked.
Yeah, so it's like you see AC Slater, then you see Sonny Federa, and you're just like, wait, what is this?
You're getting some broad spectrums there of house music, but it's the best.
Yeah, it was honestly so crazy. So then I just started frequenting Grasshopper, and I mean, I didn't know that there was more places like this. I just thought it was kind of an anomaly, and so I would go, and then I met some of the local DJs there who were very nice to befriend me, and then they actually took me one day. We randomly went to TV Lounge, which is another club up here, another house music club. And we were in TV Lounge, and some girl recognized me from like being at the Grasshopper all the time. She was like, "Oh, are you that girl who hangs out at Grasshopper?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, are you a DJ?" I was like, "No." And I looked at my friend, and he was like, "Maybe we should teach you how to DJ." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe you should."
Yeah.
And so I remember like that pivotal moment. I was like thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this serious.
Yeah.
You're not in this interview. Can you please excuse yourself?
He's funny.
He's definitely a comedian.
That was 2015, 2016?
2014 or 2015. I can't remember the exact year. I want to say that was probably 2014 because it took me a good year to just, I don't even know. Maybe, that was 2014. That was October 10th, 2014. I went to go see AC Slater. And then November 14th, 2014 was or November 21st, 2014 was the Sonny Fodera show. And then I had my first gig at the Urban Bean, well, one of my first gigs with my name on it, at the Urban Bean on May 10th, 2015.
Wow. That's pretty quick turnaround from going to your first show, which, again, just want to say how awesome it is. Your first show was AC Slater at Grass.
I know, right? October.
That's raw. That's like sweat on the ceiling type stuff.
Yeah, so around 6 to 7 months, going to my first show, playing my first gig.
So who were some of your mentors then during that time? You said your friend that you're with right now taught you to DJ?
Yeah, you want to say hi, Ryan?
Yes, come here, Ryan.
What's up?
Hey, Ryan. What's up, man? I'm Sherm.
Nice to meet you.
You too, man. I'm hearing you expose Sonya to the dark side. Is that true?
This is Party Hard.
Yeah.
Party Hard.
Detroit. Yep.
That's awesome. You had CDJs and you taught her how to DJ then?
Yes.
Because she's really good on CDJs. I knew that she started on CDJs because she's way too confident in those things, right?
Yeah, she's very confident in it.
Is she a better DJ than you now?
Hell no.
I'm just kidding, yeah.
Maybe another decade and I'll have somewhere on him.
That's awesome.
We play back to back together sometimes, though. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
be on the lookout for those.
Very cool. You got to have your friends like in the beginning. I had a friend too that was almost like a mentor to me as well. And they are just there for you and they're doing it for the love. And it's so great, actually. I'm not sure if he had other close friends that he was DJing with, but there's this weird aspect. Like, I didn't have friends when I was growing up that loved electronic music. I came from like a small town outside Indianapolis. And late into college, you know, electronic music was blossoming. And I got to Chicago because I wanted to continue the dream, do the podcast and stuff. It's a hell of a lot better scene in Indianapolis, as you well know. And I met so many people here, like in a short period of time, that were just unlike people I had met previously because they loved music. They loved electronic music. They loved house. They loved DJing. And there's just something so special about that connection, right? When you're first really getting into it, like when you're going to shows, when you're learning to DJ, when you're discovering new music, I just feel like it develops this stronger bond, especially if you experience it later in life, like we did too.
Yeah, absolutely. Not starting music when I was like 18, which, you know, I always say there's pros and cons to everything. When I was 18, I was definitely wild, for lack of a better term. I was a con? I don't know what you mean by that. I was not a con.
Then you were
Pro? I didn't play video games.
Were you at midterms?
Midterms?
He was a pro partier.
Pro, okay. Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But let's just say I'm happy that I entered in the music scene, well, for maturity reasons, after I'd already done all my, you know, stuff that you do when you're like 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Yeah. Be silly, crazy, figured out. So, yeah, I mean, but then again, I think about it and it's like, I remember when I was just beginning in this and I was, 24, 25 years old. And I'm like, all the people are young and they've been, they're like younger than me and they've already been doing it for 5 years. Like, fuck, I have some catching up to do, So it's just kind of like frustrating. Like, oh, why didn't I figure this out sooner? But then it's, then you just realize everyone's journey is unique and
totally,
so.
I'm interviewing some guys these days that are from the United States, from Canada, from Europe. They got their first pair of DJ decks at like 12 and 13 years old, right?
Right.
And these days, there's no barrier to entry for guys like that at all, because your mom will buy you a set of, Serato decks, and you can download your music illegally for free, and you can get little bar gigs and then build your way up. And then you're like 15, 16 years old. And they're like, oh, I should maybe learn to produce when you're in high school, when you have all the time in the world, when I was doing nothing, you know what I mean? And it is easy to be like, oh man, if I could go back, I would do that. But I think those sort of things are just like, you wouldn't have thought.
Coulda, shoulda. Wish I would have bought Amazon in 2012.
Yeah. What are you going to do though? You're here now.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned AC Slater, Sonny Fodera. Obviously, you've had some mentors along the way. Who are your biggest influences that inspire you musically, from a DJ's perspective, maybe even just like your regular life too?
Yeah, for sure. So some of my biggest inspirations will definitely be my friends here in Detroit that, helped me just and nurtured my love for music, always supporting me and also helping me find awesome songs to play. Um, Worldwide, some of my favorite inspirations musically, Shiba San.
Yeah.
Shiba San definitely was one of the first artists that like kind of when I heard his music, I like immediately. What is this?
And he's like the
Actually,
coolest guy too.
Yeah. Fred's awesome. So basically, I remember in AC Slater's set the first night that I saw him, I was wilding out, and I took a little video of like what was going on, and I posted it on my Instagram. This was like before, obviously, I had an aesthetic Instagram, but I it's like posted the video like, oh, great moment or whatever, and it was when AC Slater was playing "Okay" by Shiba San. I just like knew that I loved it, so it was like so then I Shazammed it, obviously. So then I found SoundCloud. I didn't even know what SoundCloud was. I was like, what is this? So on SoundCloud, I found Shiba San, and I listened to Shiba San live in Indonesia, or was it Shambhala?
Shambhala
Is in Indonesia. So I listened to his live set. It was like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour live set every day, like multiple times a day for a few months. Because I didn't really know that there was more mixes on SoundCloud.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so I was listening to this one Shiba San set, and I just like Shazammed every single song in the set, and I was like, oh my god, everything, like, it's amazing. It goes from one song to the next. Like, when does it happen? I just don't get it.
Right.
So it kind of like blew my mind, and then from that set, I obviously like was able to find a bunch of other artists that he played, and so from there, then I was like looking at AC Slater sets, and I was just like, wow, this is a rabbit hole and a half.
Yeah, gosh, you can go deep.
So then from there, Shadow Child has been a big inspiration for me. And then just recently, as far as like people that I've been looking up to and have really been motivating me to like stay on course and stay motivated has been Greco, obviously. You know him. I mean, he's just always totally killing it with like just the positivity and the just production level is just like totally off the charts. So he's been doing really well, so for a long time.
Yeah, I know you're on the same management label as him too. I had him on the podcast. I think, gosh, time's been going by in a crazy way since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's just like a guy who is easy to talk to, stay connected with, right? He's almost like a reassurance of the music industry that like people are good. People are good.
Yes, you're right. I remember. I've met Greco a few times in person, but we hung out in Miami when we had this whole thing that our management group we were doing in Miami, and we stayed in an Airbnb together. It was a really nice hotel that we stayed in type deal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big group of us. He like brought his girlfriend, and we had our manager there, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And honestly, what I take away from that being with him is he was definitely someone who like when you're talking to him, like you have his attention.
Yes.
He's living in the moment,
yes.
Which is nice because I feel like it could be easy for someone of his like movement caliber. He's doing a lot to be like just kind of scatterbrained and be like, oh, I don't know, overwhelmed or kind of like standoffish and weird and like not. But he's like really genuine, really like when he talks to you, he's like really talking to you. So it is a reassurance. Yeah, it's nice.
Absolutely. And speaking of Greco, actually, where I first met him was Movement. And I have been following him for a little while because I love his tracks. He's got such a unique sound. And I saw him. I knew he was short as fuck.
Yeah, he's like Will Clark short.
and I saw to see this short guy at Movement on like Saturday at like 2 p.m. Right, and this was my first year there, so I wanted to get there early. I was so excited. I see this little guy standing there on the main stage. I'm like, oh, that guy's like wearing a Rossum hat. That's cool. Start walking over to him. I see it's him. I'm like, oh shit, it's Greco. And I introduced myself. Ever since then, we stayed connected. And he loves telling that story too. And I just think like that's one of the few things like that you kind of just don't want to let pass by is these people are real people too. Like no matter the level of success you're at. So
Mhm.
it's always humbling when somebody like that does give you the time of day, does make eye contact, does respond to your questions, does give you advice, does give you feedback. When
Right.
you connect, why would he?
Exactly. What does he have to gain?
Yeah,
Exactly.
of course. But speaking of movement, aka Demph, so sad.
Don't make me cry.
I'm sorry, I have to bring it up because it's so incredibly sad, but also badass. I can't tell you, this is probably the first time we've really connected, but when I saw you post that you were playing at Movement on the MK Area 10 stage, I literally got up out of my seat and I was like, whoa, I know her. That's awesome. I mean, I can't even imagine what you did when you got word.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had some heart palpitations, and then there was a lot of jumping and a lot of crying.
I mean, Sonya, to me, that is, that's the Lollapalooza of Detroit. That's a worldwide festival, right? That's there are lots of places in Europe and all over the world, but the United States, Detroit Movement is the mecca of house and techno. And for you to be on that stage on Monday, no less, which is always the best day, you deserve that spot, and I want to acknowledge you for that. But I just want to know, what did it feel like getting that announcement? Obviously, it's canceled, and we'll see you next year, and I'll be front row. But let's pretend it was going to happen. What did that feel like for you?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, honestly, I felt like kind of like the wild card for this year, as you know. I don't really have those TV lounge connections. I have a lot of acquaintances, but I mean, I don't really play at TV lounge that much, so I'm not like one of the residents.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't really know what exactly possessed them to pull the trigger and choose me.
That's the stamp of approval, man.
It is. It is. It's pretty amazing. I will say though that literally since forever now, for the past however long I've been DJing, every set that I was going to, I would pretend that I was on a Movement stage.
Oh.
And just kind of manifest big festival vibes and just manifest Movement vibes every time I DJ'd. I would always have in the back of my head someone could be in this room that could be, could be watching and could be wanting to see what you would do at Movement or whatever. So I just meditated on it a lot, and I don't know. I really don't know. Just kept pushing. I feel like you can either try to get in somehow with people, or just push so hard and do your own thing that the crowd is chanting your name, and they can't deny booking you because they know the crowd wants to see you. It's not like a doing you a favor. I mean, they are doing you a favor, but it's not like a it's like a mutual. It works out for both parties. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, you weren't in the green room late night at Magic Stick and were like, "Hey, I'm Sonya." They recognized you and they said, "This girl's put in work."
Which is crazy too, because with the lack of original music that I have, for them to still have faith in me as a musical artist, I'm like, wow, that says a lot about them and just how they view the full picture and not just one thing. Oh, what's your social following, or what's your whatever.
Every year is someone who considers himself I always think I'm pretty well versed in the house and techno scene. Probably half the lineup I don't recognize, and it's all just so worldwide talents and local talents. And I mean, you deserve it. So whether you think that or not, I think it's awesome. So I want to ask you though, besides that, Movement as a festival, I've been twice. First time I went, honest to God, changed my life.
Yeah.
And I had loved house music live, but just the city of Detroit itself, how growing up and never really being to Detroit before that, there's the connotations, of course, about it, right? But I have never felt such a connection to the people around me at a festival or a show ever in my life like I did in Detroit. And it's because I think everybody is there for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's for pictures. It's not to have a weekend off. It's because I'm here for techno, 40 hours of it at least. Give it to me, right? It's not being at heart. And I just felt so connected, and it was incredible. It was the DJ was almost part of the crowd, and it just was so special. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
It is very so special. So yes, I've been going to movement for as long as I've been DJing. I wish I could have been going to movement longer than that. I knew about it, but honestly, I was either out of town or just not in the scene to not even be downtown. So that when I got into DJing, the first year I went, obviously, so life changing. You know, it was just so crazy, obviously. And then from there, I was just like, okay, I need VIP because I need to sit in the shade because it gets really, it gets thick, it gets heavy, you know, just the moving all around and everything. But the past few years, I take my son with me one day, Dominic. He's watching TV now, so we're fine. I think he was just intrigued by the interview. But so yeah, I take Dominic with me, and it's nice to just show him, you know, the live music and the crowds and let him dance and show him off, obviously. He's such a cutie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, movement, I think one of the reasons why it's so magical for everyone that's involved, including like all the people even setting up, all the people even at like checking your bag or like jolly about things, you know what I mean? It's because it's it's because there's I mean, I feel at least the energy, the vibration, like the hive mind, like everyone, you just got to think about it. Like everyone there has like such pure intentions, like you said, that literally on an alchemy level, the vibration of the bodies is going to be, it's just, you're going to feel good.
Yes.
Because of the energy of the people around you. So I think that's why movement is so powerful.
Everybody's dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
if they're not dancing, then they're just like living their best life in other ways. Like the food that they have at movement is so good. The way that people take like the fashion, movement fashion is so crazy and good. You know,
cool. You feel it's
yeah.
a very European vibe for such like a raw American city, and it's just like this great combination.
It is, and then you take into consideration everything that basically how movement got to where it was. You know, it's basically from these illegal parties.
Yeah.
You know, and then the after hours vibe of movement is like, you know, there's a lot of, well, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's, you know, it's really grungy. Like most of our clubs in Detroit they're just grungy. I mean, like the Leland. Yeah, there you go. Or like the Works, but the Works is no longer.
It's no longer?
The Works closed down about a year and a half ago.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
no, it was a year and a half ago. It was beginning of 2019. It was done.
Oh man, I didn't know that actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a golden moment for a year in 2016, spring to 2017 spring. We had a not underground. We had it was 2 floors, but it was a very sketch club called Grenadier. I don't know if you've ever heard of Grenadier.
Yeah.
You have?
I have a friend from Detroit who was actually talking about that like sometime recently.
Oh yeah. Actually, he's probably talking about Grenadier recently because we have one of the resident DJs put together this entire, it's called sepiamemorybank.com.
Mm-hmm.
Like SEPIA, sepiamemorybank.com. He put together a whole website of pictures and stories specifically about this one party that was hosted routinely at Grenadier. It's called Backdoor.
Mm-hmm.
I played their 1-year anniversary. I never played any of their other parties, but basically we would have after hours parties at this club from midnight to 6 every Friday and Saturday, midnight to 6 a.m. And it was 2 stories and like just kind of crazy. Like there was kind of no rules. And so then we had some people that, you know, we would be throwing parties routinely, you know, and whatever. But it became very popular to where like, I don't know, sometimes like in any given party, it almost didn't even matter who was playing.
Yeah.
It'd be like 3, 4, 5, 600 people.
That's
like
amazing.
at an after hours. So obviously 500 or 600 is on like a crazy night. But it got there to where we're just like, ooh, it's a lot of people, a lot of attention, y'all. This is supposed to be secret. And the cops obviously caught wind of what was going on. And so it didn't really last that long, but it did last about a year, almost a year and a half, about a year-ish. But the last party one of the last parties that I was there that I guess got shut down was the 1-year anniversary. And I was going to play back to back with one of my buddies. And we brought along Brian from Golf Clap. And then we had Green Velvet, who was on his way, like downstairs, meeting us there to play with us. You're like, what's happening right now? And of course, the cops show up right as Green Velvet's about to come downstairs and play with you. You're like, but it is what it is. So yeah, Detroit, long story short, has a lot of soul, obviously. Yeah. There's a lot of grit. There's a lot of just, give it your all. Even now I see, I was laughing. I don't know if you saw, there was a record label group of dudes who took their speakers and a picnic table with their decks down to the Hart Plaza this weekend. Yeah, they did. Even though there was a stay-at-home order. And they didn't even have a permit to be playing amps in public.
Did anybody stop them?
Yeah, the police.
I would expect the police to be like, okay, just like one hour set, it's fine.
They were there for 4 hours.
Oh shit! Okay.
So they got to have their fun before the police shut them down. But it's just like you see that the defiant attitude. You just see it come through. I mean, it almost would have been weird if nobody tried that. So
yeah,
kudos to you, whoever you are, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys rock. I mean, I want to go off that too a little bit. I mean, you got that movement spot, Sonya, because you truly are an incredible DJ, and you've been coined as the people's DJ and a DJ's DJ. Now, I think I know what that means, but for the people who don't, what exactly does that statement mean to you?
So I would say that statement probably means that I like to play things that feel somewhat familiar to the crowd. So they'll have something to connect with.
Yeah.
But also, I like to play some really random songs that might be like kind of a monkey wrench that might be for the other DJs in the room.
Yeah.
So kind of just keeping that balance of playing things for me, playing things for other people. But then also, I like to pay attention to which of my peers are in the room, playing songs that they may like, or maybe I know they like, or maybe that are theirs, play songs that are theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So just being very cognizant of who's in the room while you're DJing is very important. That tip was given to me by Brian from Golf Clap. He was a great mentor of mine. So he taught me a lot about reading the room and just deciding what kind of music to play at any given time. I also like to keep the ADHD level high in my DJ sets. And I like to keep people guessing as far as like what I might play next. So,
right.
You'll hear a deep house song next to a bass house song, next to a techno track, next to a tech house track, next to a break beats, next to a deep house song again. And I do that just because there's some times where constructive criticism can be really helpful. Yeah. And then there are some times where you'll get it, you'll appreciate it, but you'll like almost ignore it.
Yeah.
In a way.
Everything with a grain of salt.
Exactly, but kind of let it drive you. Now I remember when I first started, one of the biggest criticisms to me from other DJs, like other like older men that maybe had been doing it a really long time, they're like, you just switch around too many different genres. I just don't know. And I'm just like, neither. I just don't know. I don't know. What do you want me to do? So yeah, pretty much I just kind of use that as like, okay, well, if this is what you don't like about me, I guess I'll use it as my signature.
For
and
sure.
Call it a day.
Well said. I like that actually.
Yeah. So
I mean,
it works.
You're genre bending to a certain extent, right? Like, what is it that you love DJing? What is it about DJing that you love most? I mean, you seem like you challenge yourself. I mean, for those that don't DJ, like, it's not easy to blend all those sort of genres together. That's probably why those DJs said that, because it's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy to blend all those together, and that's why I don't blend them together a lot sometimes. A lot of times I'll DJ more like a hip-hop DJ and just kind of cut things off and play around creatively with Like I'll play the build up / breakdown to like one song, but then play a drop to a different song.
Yeah. I've seen you do that. Awesome.
Yeah. So just kind of keeping things creative, keeping people on their toes, keep them guessing. Try not to be too predictable. Try to always keep the energy level high. I know that my favorite thing about being a DJ is performing, hands down performing. I like to dance. I like to make up dance moves as I go along. And yeah, I like to channel my inner like 10-year-old self. Like when I first got Jenny from the Block. Is that what it was called? Was that the album?
Lopez?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Jenny from the Block? Was that her album or is that just the name of a song? Either way.
It was definitely a name of a song.
J-Lo was the name of the album.
Oh yeah.
J-Lo.
Yeah.
All right, got this album. Literally, I'm in my room spinning circles, like just dancing to every single song. And so I kind of like to just channel like how that made me feel. You know, you're obviously 10, 11 years old. You're just in your room by yourself. But I like to do that as an almost 30-year-old woman on stage.
For sure. I that is such an influential time in your life, like musically. It almost shapes like your future. I totally agree. I was talking to a rapper and a singer-songwriter in Chicago, and we were talking about making mix CDs, right? The CD days.
Mm-hmm.
We would put all these different types of music on, and we were driving our car when we were 16, 17 years old. Like, those songs that you put on, that you're J-Lo, right? Like, that feeling is what I try and channel as a DJ, too.
Yeah. So when people like, when I'm DJing and I'm performing, other women see me giving my all and totally not caring what anybody thinks about me. And I feel like it really inspires them to also give it their all, have fun with me, dance with me, enjoy themselves, be in the moment, and not care what anyone else is thinking. And really, that's like the point we want to get them to in the crowd. We want them to just totally be enjoying themselves. And then also, obviously, I'm dancing, so obviously all the men are enjoying themselves when I'm dancing, and all the other females are dancing, so it's like instant party.
That's why they got you. That's awesome. I honestly think you might be the most dangerous woman in the world if you got your hair in a bun, your nails are done, and you are flipping the volume knobs. I mean, the floor literally on fire. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, I can recall. I mean, one time I was in the front room of the works, closing down the front room, and Golf Clap was playing back to back Pete Tong in the back room of the works. And I had the front room, like everybody was in the front room, just like harassing me, you know, like, and they were having fun with me. And Brian from Golf Clap, he comes to the front room and he's like, I need you to come up here and see what the fuck you were doing. I thought you might have been stripping or something, the way everybody just left our room. I was like, sorry, I'm just DJing. He's like, you know, you're out DJing the world's top radio DJ right now. I was like, thanks.
No biggie. I'm just
No
yelling.
biggie.
Oh,
yeah. Also, I closed the patio for Walker and Royce one time, and I remember that patio. It was like we were like, it's like a
at Magic Stick.
Race at Magic Stick. Yeah, the whole thing. It felt like there were so many people with me on the patio. It felt like the whole floor is gonna drop out. We're like, maybe we should stop dancing so hard, guys.
That patio is so awesome. The first time I went there for the Repopulate Mars after party. That Lee always does, and Will Clark was actually playing out there. What the hell is going on? Like, this is such a sick setup. It's just like so
intimate. Yeah,
so intimate. I love that though. I want to ask you about Korner Kombo Records. First off, you just released your first track, "Make Me Laugh." Which came first? I mean, how long have you been working on both these ideas?
Oh, okay. So good question. So Make Me Laugh, I put out as a free download on SoundCloud, and I partnered.
I mean, seriously.
You like it? Thank you.
I really do. It's unique. It's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been working on producing music for like 2.5, almost 3 years-ish. But it's just been kind of a rough learning curve for me, as like I've always had to like work another day job, and I have my kid, and there's just a lot going on.
Well, I got you.
It's not, and then just add DJing onto it, and then just there's a lot. So, basically, also I'm not really great with computers. These all sound like excuses. I hate this. But anyway, I keep trying as long as you don't give up. That's what I say. As long as
You're
you don't.
now. You got the song out. Yeah, that's.
You get the song out. Get the song out. So basically, yeah, make me laugh. I don't exactly remember. I know I made that song this year. I don't remember exactly when exactly I made that song. It's like in a daze. But I remember listening to it. I'm like, this. I don't hate it. All right, this one we're going with it. So yeah, basically, well, actually, I'll tell you what sparked all this is March, April, May this year, coronavirus. I couldn't open my laptop. I couldn't work on any music. I couldn't do anything. I was just so depressed.
I hear you.
So depressed. I didn't even know what was up from down. It was so bad. But then, right, June came around and I was finally able to focus on something other than coronavirus. And so, yeah, like with all the protests and everything. And that honestly, it was like, oh my God, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I finally just said, damn, life is short. I need to put out this fucking song. I don't care if I don't know how to do it. I'm just going to figure it out somehow. If they don't like it, there's a million other songs you can listen to. So just go away.
That's right.
So I put it out. And honestly, the response was a lot better than I thought it would be. I mean, I've had like almost 700 plays on the song right now, which it's not like a crazy amount, but it's more than I anticipated. I would have been fine with like 30 people listening to it. I mean, it's fine. So that's really good.
I was talking about. You're doing it like you don't care how many plays you get.
It would be nice to get as many as possible, but I mean, like I said, that to me is like your first song, you get almost 700 likes, cool, or listens, cool. Like that's good.
It's a long time to get 700 plays on my first track, so yeah.
Yeah,
and you're doing way better than my first track.
I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did. So yeah, and then honestly, Korner Kombo Records, this is a very brand new brain baby right here. This is like you're seeing it unfold in real time. Like honestly.
Is it all female?
No, it's not. That you might think that, but so I'll tell you about Korner Kombo Records. Obviously, we don't have any music out just yet. I have some songs that I'm working on that I'm getting finished, finalized, and then that'll be an EP out for me on the label. I just wanted to have a platform for me to put my stuff out on, not have to third party it through other people because I'm already overwhelmed with the lengthy process of things. I can't. And this very moment, I'm not saying I won't. I can't send all these demos out right now because I'm a person who gets like discouraged if I don't see some sort of progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to build my confidence as a producer, and then we'll go from there. So, however my journey goes, that's where I'll go. But Korner Kombo Records is going to be the record label. Korner Kombo being a term used in fighting games. Sonya Alvarez, the name Sonya is not my birth name. Sonya comes from the character Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat. And Sonya was the first female fighting character in that game. So to me, she represents a dominant female in a primarily male-dominated field. So, and the name's Hispanic. So I used the name and it goes good. And then, so I wanted to kind of take the theme into other things. So Korner Kombo is not an official Mortal Kombat term. It's just a term that you use in fighting games. Making the K, having it be with Ks, references Mortal Kombat a little bit more. But I feel like it was still kind of far enough away to where there's no copyright infringement, which is good.
Good. You're clear.
Yeah, we're clear on that. Talk to my lawyer. But yeah basically, Korner Kombo Records. We're going to get merch made. We have a mix series out. The mix series is bi-weekly, and there are 2 featured artists each week. We got the website up. And yeah, it's going to be mostly female, but not all female, because I feel like in this day and age, things are either mostly male or all female.
True.
And I feel like I don't really ever see anything that's mostly female, male.
Yeah, I like that. Seriously, that's so spot on. I didn't even think about it. You think it's like, I'm sure you've heard Danny Deal before, right? The Chicago influencer, DJ. She's always talking about things like that. It's like, it's always mostly male, but then people force only female or minority. Mm-hmm. It's not actually like this cross collaboration when there are talented female DJs out there. It's insane.
yeah, so I just wanted to use my platform to highlight other females, but also not make it female exclusive because I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of being all inclusive.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, let me just shut out all my male friends. Like, no, not going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Very
So,
cool.
it's all a work in progress.
You're definitely a boss lady. Like I would be on your label. I would do your stuff. You know what you're doing.
Send me a demo.
Oh, shit. Okay. I got some music on my own. Some guys I manage. I'll shoot it over to you. See what you think.
Please do.
Absolutely. Bring a little Chicago flavor to Detroit. Is that okay?
It's okay. We're here for it.
You probably know, but techno was actually derived from influences of Chicago house music. I mean, Kevin Saunderson is where it all came from. So
Absolutely.
people always think Chicago and Detroit, we don't get along. We get along really well.
We sure do.
Yes, we do.
Sure do.
So you mentioned, of course, Golf Clap a few times. You've opened for Chris Lake, like you mentioned, Shiba San twice, MK, AC Slater, and Lunoe. Again, this isn't by chance. Like, you've really earned your stripes. And when I've seen you play, it's obvious that you're an expert when it comes to building the energy. For people that are experienced and non-experienced, what's your process like in preparing for those sets, whether it be like in finding new music or actually reading the crowd? You know, if you have any secrets that you can share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my biggest thing when I'm going to play a set is I don't overthink it ever. I prepare, but I don't over prepare.
Okay.
I don't overthink it. I genuinely like to prepare my music day of.
Yeah.
So I can get any of like the latest tidbits that released that might be like I like to kind of push it to the limit and wait till the end.
Said, yeah.
There will be times where I'm being real responsible and I'll catch a Beatport sale on like a Tuesday or something, so that's good. But other than that, I generally will wait typically till the day of to event to track shop because I want it to be more off the cuff. I want it to be more. I want to almost be a little bit surprised by the songs that I'm playing.
Yeah.
While I'm playing them.
Yeah.
Some of them, obviously, not all of them. You want to know your tracks, what you're playing, but
right.
You know, you just got to have confidence in what you buy, and then you know, like, I'm not going to buy a shitty song, so there's that. I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, so basically, I just track shop, and then I just be making shit up as I go along.
Yeah, from experience, right? Like you've just played gigs. You've had good gigs. You've had bad gigs, and
yeah. There's been good gigs and bad gigs. In between gigs, you know, for me. It's been a learning process. You know, you realize that not all promoters are built the same. You got to explain what type of gear you need to people, even though it's industry standard. You got to make sure that people don't try to undercut you and like give you some weird price or not pay you or like not honor your guest list or just like, I don't know. There's a bunch of weird things that happen that can make like your experience in a gig less than ideal. You know what I mean? Like there really is the booth speakers could be on the ground, you know, I mean, like there's a million things that I feel like I'm being so tedious with, but it's like, do all of these things for me and you'll get an amazing set, you know? So it's just like.
If you don't take yourself seriously, then nobody else will.
That's true.
Right? It seems like you've learned a lot about the business side of the music industry, though. Obviously, someone who's like starting a record label, like understanding the social media aspects. What things have you learned, like even in the long term or recently, about the music industry that you think are important?
Well, one of the things that I learned a long time ago, which I thought was super important, was to basically keep your opinions to yourself and stay out of drama because you're always going to be on someone's shitty side of the fence.
Yeah.
And it's like, my goal was always to offend as least people as possible with whatever I was doing. It's like, you know, hands up, don't fucking shoot at me. But, but obviously we're all learning that you can't keep your opinions to yourself. You have to say what you believe.
True. I know.
So, yeah, I've just been finding that, you know, you gotta, with social media, you gotta really find a good balance and a line between giving like a true representation of yourself, but not oversharing and keeping it about the music, but also showing people that you're a real person.
Yeah.
sharing things that you care about and things that you're passionate about, but being sensitive to the fact that you might offend someone, and you have to take that chance nowadays because everything's so polarized. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot to learn, but really just kind of like staying active, engaging on other people's accounts, and not being like one of those people who just like is like a dry Jan and just doesn't. I mean, you got to show gratitude when people interact with your page. It's what we need. We need interaction. So it's like, doing that.
Completely agree. And sometimes things that you learn about the music industry and the business side only come through experience, good and bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
True facts.
True facts. I love that. Now, something I love asking people, especially someone like yourself, I mean, you've had quite the uphill climb. I mean, really earning your stripes, getting started a little bit later than people. Have there been any obstacles you've overcome, even before you got into DJing or maybe even now, and how are you getting over them?
Poverty's been one for me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
an obstacle.
it is, I mean, I was making all right money as like a store manager before I started music, a store manager in the mall, like fast fashion retail.
Mm-hmm.
But you find working in the corporate world that it's like you have a new dad that tells you when you can take vacation, when you have to work, when you have to be there. And for someone who's trying to be a DJ, when they say, oh, can you DJ this day, you got to say yes.
Yeah.
So there's no, oh, my job, this, that. No, your job is DJing. So it's like making the transition for me from working my job at these brick and mortar stores to doing DJing full time, which I still was working at some stores, but I took like a lesser paying job and coupled that with a roommate to compensate for lack of funds.
You're a business. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, but it's just like getting out of poverty is so stressful because everything in this industry you gotta spend money to make money. You gotta make it look good, and honestly, I mean, I'm okay. Like, I'm fed, my kids fed, we're clothed, like everything's good. But the goal is to like buy a house and like be able to like just not have to hustle so hard. You know what I'm saying? But basically, I don't know. I guess all this stuff keeps me pretty humble. But this year I practice intermittent fasting. I've been practicing food-wise intermittent fasting for about a year and a half now. But this year I've been doing a material fast. I haven't bought any items for myself this year since Christmas, and like any clothes, shoes, toys, makeup, just like anything. I haven't if I didn't need it, I didn't buy it.
That's awesome. How's that been? Has that been
It's
tough?
been great. It's been super easy, honestly.
You just convince yourself, you're like, it's not worth it, I'm not going to do it.
None of this stuff is real.
Damn, Sonya, that was...
None of it's real. It's all an illusion. So you just got to be grateful with what you have.
Maybe all I need is this Detroit 313 shirt and a pair of CDJs, and that's it. I'm good.
You're good. You're good for life.
I've been following you obviously on Instagram, and you do this intermittent fasting. You're big into CBD. You obviously take really good care of yourself too. Obviously, does that help a lot with your mental aptitude, all that sort of stuff? Just staying positive, especially through this tough time.
Yeah, I mean, fasting has been literally the only thing I've been able to hold on to during this whole year, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Is because we can control what goes in our mouth and what comes out.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people forget that. Also just realizing the difference between your body and you, which a lot of people are just so enveloped in this reality and so engulfed in the experience that they're living that they forget to remember that their body is their own, that they own, but it's not them.
Yeah.
Your body can change, your thoughts can change, your mind can change.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they're all yours, but none of them define you.
Yeah.
And it's so many people they really they'll be down on themselves because they're like, oh, I have these thoughts, these disturbing thoughts, or I have this body, this disturbing body, or just whatever. I have my mind is against me right now. And it's we just have to take a step back and realize like all of these things are kind of like they're items that you own on a table, a flower pot, a remote, a leather jacket. They're all things you own, and you can look at them objectively, but not have to really ruminate in them so much. You don't have to carry them around all the time if you don't. Obviously, your body you do, but it's like that can be changed. Your body can be changed, and you can change that on an alchemy level. You know what I mean? You can change that by how and why you intake your food. Just doing the research, being specific, being intentional about how you consume. I wish I could be more intentional about how I consume my news feed.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I was going to touch on that. Like, it's the digital age, the double-edged sword of the world we live in, right? You're talking about how important it is to be on social media, engage with your followers. And, like, I love that. That's my favorite part of social media. And I understand how important it is to have a social media presence. But there are definitely days where I'm just like, oh my God, can I just stop with this stuff? Like,
yeah, it's very toxic. I'll say that's probably the most toxic part of my life is just having to, as much as, like you said, as much as you love it, because it does help you in your career, it's draining. Just the fact that the screen in and of itself is so addicting. We look at it all the time. We're constantly refreshing. We're constantly engaging, and it can be overwhelming. Like, I envy my boyfriend. He's not on social media, period. He has nothing, like never has either. Facebook, Instagram, nothing. And so he's just on his phone looking at
last dude.
Yeah, he's great. So he's just looking at the stock market and shit on his phone.
He opens his phone, you're like, what are you even looking at?
Right. So, I mean, yeah, like I think that we could all probably benefit from taking a slight step sideways on that, and just maybe putting an hour in the beginning of the day, an hour at the end of the day, no phone zone. I'm going to take my own advice on this starting now.
Sonya, I'm right there
But
with
yeah.
you. Let's hold each other accountable on that, because I'm trying to use my social medias as a tool and not as a sole source of information, because, oh my God, social media these days is like a minefield.
It is.
You say something to defend someone, take a step back, step on another mine, and you're like, why'd you take a step back? Should have kept going. I'm like, I'm so in my own head right now. Or it's just like, it's a lot.
It is a lot. Everything I put out, I'm like, disclaimer, don't want to offend anyone. Disclaimer.
Yeah, new mix Monday, ... Disclaimer, this mix isn't meant to offend anybody.
Right, pretty much.
Oh,
Mixtapes 2030, but yeah.
I know.
Social media.
Well, the future right now, of course, is uncertain for so many people in the music industry, but I got to tell you, it's inspiring, like talking to somebody like you who really is just continuing to push forward. Do you have big plans for the rest of this year? You're mentioning, of course, your record label, some new music. What can we expect from you?
Well, I'm working on this EP right now that's got a few songs on it that I'm pretty excited about. We were actually just working on one of them here.
Oh, yeah?
So there's one song that I can mention that I'm pretty excited about that I got coming out. It's called CPWB.
What's that stand for?
It stands for Cool Piece of Work, Bro.
That's fucking awesome.
So, cool piece of work, bro.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll give you the backstory on this song so you can be on the lookout for it when it comes out. There's a YouTube channel called Soft White Underbelly. Okay, Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's a photographer. He was interviewing people on Skid Row. Mm-hmm. So they were really down on their luck, really crazy stories. And you're watching it, you're like, holy shit, I'm really glad this is not me.
Yeah.
But this one woman, I watched her interview, and she totally had me cracking up so hard. Her story, I can't say it resonated with me because she was just this woman was messed up. She had like on 5 different levels, right? Yeah. But she was just going. She was telling her story, and she just like wasn't stopping. And it was like she was talking in like 8-bar verses too. So I was like, yeah, she would like say something, and it'd be like a certain amount of like syllables, and then she'd stop, and then like throughout like 35 minutes, and everything she said was so remarkable and like one-liner. We finished it. It took me and my boyfriend about an hour and a half to watch it because it was so entertaining. And so we finished it, and I looked at him and I was like, I need to make a song about this woman.
That's
And I
awesome.
did. And yeah, basically the song is called Cool Piece of Work, Bro, because in the song or in the interview, she says that like 4 different times in like 3 different ways. She's like, "Oh, that was a cool piece of work." And she's like, "Cool piece of work, bro." And it sounds like I have it is repeated in the song. And then the song is around 6 minutes long. And the 4 minutes that you hear her talking, it's like I chopped up her interview, but I left it all in order. So it's like her story,
Mhm.
just with like the minutia cut out.
Nice.
And so you hear, and it's like weirdly sounds like she's rapping on.
That's sick though.
It's pretty sick. I like it. So Cool Piece of Work, Bro. Hopefully that'll be like some sort of fall anthem. I don't really know, but it's not kid friendly. That one's mature audiences. So that's good. That one's going to offend a lot of people, that song. There's a lot of crazy stuff in there.
Sonya, at the same time, you got to push some buttons, right? If you're not,
Yep.
if you're not stepping on toes, you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
love
she's gonna tell her story. Her name's Ariana from Skid Row.
I'm literally gonna go watch it right away, right after this.
Hey, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, seriously, crazy white underbelly.
Soft white underbelly. Think of Italy, the vulnerable part. Soft white underbelly, because he interviews vulnerable people. So that's what that is.
Gotcha. Wow. Damn.
Meta.
Meta?
Yeah. You never heard that before.
You know what you're talking. You're so into this. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, Sonya, I got to tell you, it's been so much fun talking to you and hearing your story. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. And I promise you, I will be front row at Detroit next year at Movement. But I will see you before then. And it has been such a pleasure talking to an up-and-comer, a Detroit legend in my eyes. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. We'll have this out next week, and we'll tell the people all about your music.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah, Sonya. Thank you so much for taking this time. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Sherm.
Bye.
All right, bye now.
Bye.